Not all fragrances are created the same. Some are more fresh and citrusy, others are more dark and opulent and mysterious, but others are more sensual, more irresistible, more alluring. In this video, we'll be talking about those sensual, alluring fragrances. Hello everyone, I'm Julien and welcome back to my channel Scented Moments, where we discuss everything about perfumes. So in this video I will be talking about 10 incredibly sensual and alluring fragrances that definitely can turn heads and can spark some compliments. At least they did to me. So without further ado, I have here 5 designers and 5 niche fragrances in no specific order. Let's get started. The first one is from the house of Rochas, and this one is Moustache Eau de Parfum, often compared with Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo from the Le Vestiaire collection, and actually they are in fact quite close, but this costs a very small fraction of the price, and the same being the same size, 125 ml, and also same concentration. Eau de Parfum. Tuxedo is also Eau de Parfum. Actually, they are quite similar, and I already had the opportunity to compare them side by side, and they are very close. Of course, one can say that maybe Tuxedo is a bit more refined, a bit more elegant, but I mean, overall, in terms of scent itself, it's very hard, I would say, really to distinguish between them. So that's why I just have the Moustache from Rochas. Incredibly quality right here, especially for the price. I mean, seriously, this is a 125 ml, and you can find this in the online discounters for 30-40 euros, whilst of course the Tuxedo from Yves Saint Laurent is more expensive, like in the 200 euros mark for the same size 125 ml. And again, same concentration. So this is a spicy vanilla benzoin ambery type of perfume, and this fragrance, it's perfect for date nights, perfect if you want to cause a great first impression, because this is a very unique perfume, especially within like the mainstream designer fragrances. Very unique. I haven't smelled anything like this in the mainstream designer realm, again, because you just have this type of scent DNA like in more high-end, like again Tuxedo by Yves Saint Laurent. You can also find this like a bit in Bois d'Arménie from Guerlain from the La Matière, which is discontinued, unfortunately. So yes, it's a very unique type of scent DNA here. This warm benzoin, spicy, alluring, sensual, woodsy fragrance. It's elegant, it's refined, and yet it has some character. Love it. Love this one. Highly advise for you to try this. Presentation is also great in my view. Very heavy bottle, very thick glass, very heavy cap as well. Highly advise for you to try this one, especially if you are not willing to pay a big amount of money for a perfume. This is a great option. Rochas Moustache Eau de Parfum. The next fragrance, it was recently released, more specifically last year, one of my favorite releases of last year from the house of Guerlain, and this one is L'Homme Parfum. Man, I adored this one. I believe that this one is currently my favorite L'Homme version. I have 3 with this one, 3 or 4 with this one. So I have the Eau de Parfum, I have the Cologne, which is unfortunately discontinued, I have the Extrême, which is also fantastic, and I have this one, so I have 4 currently, and this is fantastic. This is like a more intensified version of the Eau de Parfum, which is glorious in itself. So, and this one is all about tonka beans, and I believe that this is a solid replacement to Tonka Imperial from Guerlain also, but from their higher end La Matière fragrance. It is discontinued actually. And this one has a fantastic almondy, boozy, chocolatey tonka bean in here. You have the vanilla, of course. You have a bit of a suede accord in here also, and you have a boozy nuance, like a licoricey, boozy nuance in the opening. It's amazing. A fantastic, addicting, almost like decadent type of perfume. Not being a full-on gourmand, but close, quite close. Love it. Very addicting fragrance, very alluring, long lasting, It's one that I highly advise if you to try. One of the better releases of last year. Again, especially within the mainstream perfumes. This one is really a top release. L'Homme Idéal Parfum by Guerlain. Next fragrance, it's a bit more mature, a bit more sophisticated. I would say this one is from the house of Cartier, and it is Pasha de Cartier Parfum, a fragrance that I've been talking about a lot. I talked about this one a lot in the past. This Pasha de Cartier, it's one of the best releases from the brand. And Cartier, actually, it's a very slept on brand overall. And they often release high quality perfumes, and this is one of them. Now, this is a modern fougère perfume. You have the lavender here. I mean, the original Pasha de Cartier, the Eau de Toilette, is a more of an old school, and I think it didn't age well with time, in my view. It's an old school fougère fragrance, and this one basically keeps that fougère quality, but with enhancing a boozy, ambery vanilla quality that makes this just irresistible, yet being elegant, yet being refined. I love the lavender use in here. I think it comes across as a high quality lavender, quite natural smelling, I would say. Nothing here it's harsh, everything here is smooth, is well rounded. Performance-wise, it's fantastic. I would say that this is one of the designer fragrances that has the best performance, and definitely better than the previous two that I mentioned. Actually, the Guerlain L'Homme Idéal Parfum and Rochas Moustache EDP. This one has better performance than those two. Despite the fact that this is a parfum that this actually projects a lot because of the fresh lavender nuances, and then it has the depth of and the warmth of the amber, the vanilla. Then you have a boozy nuance in here as well. Fantastic, fantastic fragrance right here. Cartier Pasha de Cartier Parfum. Next fragrance is already a more than classic from the house of Dior. It's Dior Homme Intense. And I love this. This is a masterpiece. Fortunately, this is still available. It's still out there. It will not be reformulated, at least not yet. I know that Dior will change the bottle. It will not look like this anymore. It will be slightly different, more close to the new Dior Homme Parfum, the 2025 version. So it will be close to that type of bottle, but scent-wise, formula-wise, I think it will remain the same. Well, we shall see about that, but at least that's what I've been told. So no worries in that regard. This is a fantastic iris fragrance. If you are into like iris, like makeup-y, chocolatey, powdery iris, but with depth, with some leathers, with some woods, with some musk, this one is one that I highly advise for you to try. Now, if you want something not as intense, maybe not as lipsticky, just go with the original Dior Homme, but it needs to be Dior Homme original, not the Dior Homme that says here Dior Homme. That one is it's the masterpiece because it's where everything started, really. And it's a bit more versatile. It's still very sensual, I would say, but more versatile. This one is more sweet, more chocolatey, and a bit more makeup-y as well, but still a high quality perfume. One of the best fragrances ever made. I mean, this is extremely popular for a reason. So if you still need to try this one, please do so. It's one of those fragrances that you definitely need to try. Performance-wise, it's fantastic. Don't have any issues with performance. I much actually prefer this version than the previous versions of Dior Homme Intense. So yes, there you have it. Highly advise for you to try this one. Very sensual. I mean, if we are talking about alluring sensual fragrances, we need to talk about Dior Homme Intense. And the last fragrance from the designer side of things, also released last year, one of the highlights of last year. I already talked about this one. It's Hugo Boss bottled Absolu. I am head over heels with this one. This was love at first sniff. I was actually really impressed how good this is and shocked how much I love it. Because this is very close to like Parfum de Marly Layton and Layton Exclusive. But for those two fragrances, I had actually Layton, the original, but I ended up selling it because I was just not wearing it. And The thing is that Leighton and Leighton Exclusive by themselves, they already are inspired by Hugo Boss bottled. So it's like I'm saying, every time I'm talking about this one, it went just full circle really. But this is very intense. It's dark, it's mysterious, but it's very sensual. You still have the cinnamon, you have the apple, you have the vanilla, you have a leathery nuance as well in here, bit boozy also. Incense, oh man, it's really good, really good, love it. Fantastic performance. This is a Parfum, if I'm not mistaken, a Parfum concentration. Yes, it's Parfum intense. So yeah, this is a Parfum concentration. Performance wise is great, projection as well. And of course, people do like this. I already wore this a few times, and I wore this one time when I went to grab dinner with some friends, and of course, they actually complimented me when I was wearing this. So yes, I think likability-wise, it's quite good in that regard. So highly advise for you to try. It's a great scent, especially if you are into these type of perfumes, like fruity, sweet, but a bit dark and with some personality. I think this one is one that I think this one is one that deserves your attention. It's Hugo Boss bottled Absolu. From the niche side of things, the first one from the house of Amouage, the smell of royalty. Amouage Jubilation 40. Now I've been loving this one. I've been talking about this one a lot because it's that good, really. I love the original, and I have the original Jubilation 25, but currently I'm really enjoying this one. I love the intensity, the extra oomph that this fragrance offers, especially in the opening, with that strong, a juicy black currant with blackberry, lots of incense. It's really a fantastic experience right from the opening, and then develops into more the original Jubilation 25 with that honey, resins, oud. It's just to die for, really. This is royalty in the bottle, and the performance wise, this really leaves a nice sillage. This is an extrait, and usually extraits, they don't project that much. Now this one projects really well in the first hour, leaves a nice sillage actually, and it's really addicting, very likable, very alluring, and it's one that I highly advise for you to try. One of the better new releases from Amouage. It's Jubilation 40. Next fragrance from the house of Les Indemodables, Vanille Havane. The original. You also could go with the Coeur de Oud, but Coeur de Oud is way more expensive. I mean, it's a 400 euro, 420 euros type of fragrance, like for just 50 ml like this. So I just really would advise you to go with the original, also because the Coeur de Oud, it's way more limited. Just 500 bottles were released, so it's very limited, and it's not distributed everywhere. So just because of that, I would just advise you to go with the original, or eventually you can also go with the extrait, which is a roll-on. Actually, I have it. I will just show to you very quickly. I have it here. So this is the roll-on, the extrait Absolu Vanille Havane. This is a 10 ml, and you can actually layer, although it's a very expensive layering, but I mean, it works because the scent-wise is the same. So this is Vanille Havane extrait. I mean, look at the thickness of the liquid. Super thick, and actually smell-wise it's very rich, definitely richer than the other Parfum. Of course, the only downside is really the projection. That doesn't project that much, but that's why I'm saying that you can layer these two. So you can first roll on with the extrait and then just spray with the other Parfum. In the end, they smell almost the same. This one just being more chocolatey, more vanillic, so more richer in that regard. This one a bit more balanced and a bit more complex. So you detect more the changes of this fragrance, and you do get a stronger cigar note in here with the chocolate and the most natural smelling vanilla. This fragrance is currently the best tobacco vanilla fragrance out there, and you know how much I love tobacco vanilla from Tom Ford and other sweet tobacco fragrances, but this is currently the best in that category. So I highly advise for you to try. It's incredibly addicting, incredibly sexy, and it's sensual, alluring. I mean, it's really one that you need to try at least once, and it's the best seller from the brand for a reason. Vanille Havane by Les Indemodables. If you're searching for a luxurious but intimate fragrance with a gourmand nuance, I highly advise you to go with this one from Papillon Artisan Perfumes, Bengale Rouge. One of my all-time favorites from the brand and one of my, if not my favorite, honey fragrance. This is a honey forward fragrance, so realistic, such a natural smelling honey, and it has like the sweet thick honey aspects, but also it has animalic and nuance, because honey can have also like an animalic quality, and I can definitely see that in here. It's really a fantastic honey fragrance overall, floral and spicy and a bit ambery, a bit vanillic also in the dry down. It's to die for, really. Very alluring, very addicting, but something that it feels more like a warm hug. Highly advise you to try this one and really check out the entire Papillon Artisan Perfumes. It's really worth the experience. Bengale Rouge, again by Papillon Artisan Perfumes. It's a indie brand from UK. Now, if you want something more bold, more rebellious, more unapologetic, but still with charm, from the house of Francesca Bianchi, this one is Sticky Fingers. And Sticky Fingers, it's wonderful, one of her best creations. This has a beautiful orris root note in here, which is very prominent, very buttery and earthy with tons of patchouli, leather, spices, musk. It's just to die for, really. Highly advise for you to try this. This is an extrait. All of Francesca Bianchi fragrances are extrait de parfum. This is a 30 ml. You also have 100 ml, but I do believe that 30 ml, it's really all you need. Just go easy on the trigger, couple sprays, and you're good to go. Performance-wise, it can be even too much intoxicating, can be overwhelming, really. So I just advise you to go with a couple of sprays, and you will smell amazingly and very unique. Sticky Fingers by Francesca Bianchi. And last but certainly not least, from the house of Nuit Nomade, Ambre Khandjar. This is a wonderful fruity amber fragrance, and the fruit note used in here is plum. A delicious, realistic, juicy plum. It's to die for, really. Drenched with cinnamon, with amber, with vanilla, with benzoin. It just to die for, really. I adore this one. It's incredibly addicting. Performance-wise, it's amazing, and it's really one that, if you miss fragrances like Plum Japonais by Tom Ford, I think this one is definitely that you should try. Not saying that this is similar to Plum Japonais. I have Plum Japonais by Tom Ford, because it's unfortunately discontinued a long time ago, and that's a dark, resinous, like smoky, woodsy plum. Here, it's not as dark and it's not as woodsy. This is more ambery, so it's an ambery take, let's say, like an ambery take on Plum Japonais. And it's amazing, brilliant perfume here. This is 100 ml. The current price tag is 160 euros. Now, I have a coupon code that you can use, SCENTED10, you'll have 10% discount. Now, I always advise you to check out the discovery set of Nuit Nomade and all fragrance brands that I collaborate with. I just advise you to go first with their discovery set, because it's the best way to discover fragrance in the fragrance house in general, and because maybe this one will not be for you. However, if you are into this type of perfumes, especially if you love a good plum accord, I think this one is one that you should definitely try. It also has a smoky edge, definitely, but it's not as dark, not as smoky in the end as Plum Japonais. Nonetheless, fantastic scent right here. Highly advise you to try it. Ambre Khandjar by Nuit Nomade. Very, very sensual perfume. Finishing this video, guys, let me know in the comments down below what are some of the most sexy, sensual fragrances that you have in your collection. What are some fragrances that you recommend me to try in this category? If you find value in this video, hit the like button, subscribe, check out all the other fragrance content that I have available, and see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Ciao.